Hello and welcome to this Edexcel GCSE Geography Walking Talking Mock. This is for Paper 3 UK Challengers and this is part 1, all designed to help improve your confidence in reading, understanding and answering exam questions to give you the best possible chance for success. Now as always, please read the instructions on how best to use this video. Making notes as I read through them and then checking and correcting your answers as well. So if you need to, pause now to read the instructions. So in sections A and B of paper 3 you have a choice of one of two questions, but for section C you have to answer all of the different questions. And remember that for the final question there will be 4 marks given for spelling, punctuation and grammar. So first of all, study figure 5A in the resource booklet. So figure 5A, here we can see, make sure you read the information that goes with it as well. So you can see that the UK is facing social and political challenges from increasing population, and it will lead to an increase in demand for housing and competition for land, resources and space. This could have a negative impact on habitats and ecosystems. Now, figure 5A, looking at the title, proportions of different ecosystems within the UK. So we've got the 4 main nations of the United Kingdom, and we can see we have the different types of ecosystems from enclosed farming and the other main features. Now what we can see here is that in England enclosed farming is by far the greatest. It's smaller in Northern Ireland, smaller in Wales and much smaller in Scotland. We can see mountain and moorlands is perhaps the biggest in Scotland but smaller in the others. So you can use these cumulative percentage bar charts for the answer. So have a look at the question. Identify the country that has the greatest proportion of urban ecosystems than woodland ecosystems. So we're looking for the proportion of urban ecosystems here and woodland ecosystems here. So which one is the only one which has greater urban ecosystems than woodlands? So you're looking for any one where the grey is bigger than this light brown here. So have a look, and it's multiple choice, and as always put an X in the correct box, not a tick, not a circle. So have a go now. Now the next question, state 2 reasons for differences in enclosed farming proportion between England and Scotland. So first of all we need to have a look, what is the difference? Well, we can see that in England it's well over 50%, in Scotland it's below 20%. So we've got to state. State just means give basic facts. You don't need to develop these in too much great detail. So what are the reasons for these differences? So why is there more farmland in England than Scotland? So have a think about that. It may not be something you've been taught specifically, but you've got to use your geographical understanding and the resources to come up with a reasonable answer. So have a go at that now. So quickly looking at those answers, the first one was England. This was the country that had more urban than woodland ecosystems. And then the reasons for the greater levels of enclosed farming is because there's so many mountains in Scotland, it's harder to farm. There tends to be more farming in England closer to the population. The lowland areas tend to be more enclosed. So very simple, common sense answers there. The next question, study figure 5B in the resource booklet. The population of London in 2011 was 8.2 million. So if we look at resource 2, we can see here we have a map of the United Kingdom, and the map is showing us the percentage population increase between 2001 and 2011. Now it's asking us for London, so you need to know where London is, and it's down here. And we can see that London is growing at 13.8% over the 10 years. So calculate the projected population size of London in 2021, 10 years time, assuming the rate of population increase remains constant. So what we have to do is work out an increase of 13.8% on 8.2 million. So a number of different ways you can do this. 8.2 divided by 100 times 113.8, or 8.2 times 1.138, and that should give you the total figure, but remember to add million in there. Next, we need to give two reasons why an area may have a low rate of population change. So again, this is using all of our understanding of the UK and giving two reasons. Now, because it's only worth 2 marks and we knew 2 different ones, all we need to do is really state the different reasons. So why might some areas not see a great rate of population change? Why would it stay the same? So think about the fact of what affects population change. What are the things that impact on migration or increase on birth rates? And those would be the reasons that you would need to write there. So 2 marks, 2 minutes, have a go now. The answers for those two then. So the population of London in 2021, if growth was the same, would be 9.3 million. But please make sure that you do write the million in your answer. Then for the reasons for different for low rates of population growth, it could be areas have fewer job opportunities, fewer transport connections, so these would all relate to possible migration. It could be that there is an elderly population, therefore there's not going to be a high birth rate. So therefore, yeah, these would explain why low rates of population change. The next part is using mathematical skills. Study figure 5D in the resource booklet and identify the modal class for net migration between 1995 and 2013. So it's given us a number of different options for which is the modal class. Now remember, we need to know the difference between the mean, the median and the modal classes. So the modal class is the one which is most common. So we have a look at the resource and we can see here figure 5D, we can see we've got the different features. So it's asking us between 0 and 1,000, 100,000, 1 and 200, 2 and 300. So count up the bars, which one of those is most common? So have a look at it, count it up, pause if you need to, and then have a go at answering the question now. Next, calculate the range for net migration between 1995 and 2013. Remember, the range is the highest figure minus the lowest figure. So again, we look at the resource, we can see that we need to look at the years 1995 and 2013. So 1995 is the start, 2013 is the end. So we look at the difference between the highest figure in this range and the lowest figure. So the lowest figure is around here at around 50, and then around 280 would be the highest figure. So you simply do that subtraction. Off you go. Now, so the answers for those simple maths questions, the modal range, the most common was C, 200 to 300,000. And then the range was 230. So 280 minus 50 is 230,000. So again, it should be 230,000, not 230 as was stated there. So even the mark scheme can get things wrong. Looking then at the next question, explain 2 reasons why net migration figures are so often disputed. So again, command word is explain. Say why these are happening. Remember the connectives you need to use. And 2 different reasons why net migration figures are disputed. So why would people say that the figures that you get for the amount of people coming into the country are not correct? So 2 different reasons, worth 4 marks, 4 minutes, have a go now. So what could the reasons be? Why might people dispute the figures? Well, it may be that there are some migrants that decide to stay but not extend their visa, such as students. It may be because there are asylum seekers or those people who enter illegally, so the data may be very difficult to collect. And also it is very difficult to collect if it's people coming from Europe who are allowed free movement, and so they may not be collected either. So two different things, giving a point and then giving a reason for it. Now we come on to the final question. Now this question you'll see is 16 marks, but remember 4 of these marks are for your spelling, punctuation and grammar. Now, use information from the resource booklet and knowledge and understanding from the rest of your geography course of study to support your answer. Now, think of this as the 12 marks are a longer 8-mark question, and the additional marks will come from your use of information and quoting information from the resource booklet. Now, what we have to do is discuss the view that UK population growth and net migration will create pressures on the UK ecosystems. So let's have a look at what discuss means. So discuss means to give both sides of an argument. You need to give evidence from the resources, quoting the reference that you got it from, by saying things such as figure 5b shows. Give points which will agree with the statement that say yes, it will cause pressure, and give points that say, well, actually these are designed to reduce the pressures. But also use your own knowledge as well as the resources. This course, the UK Challengers, is designed to test your knowledge of the whole of the geography of course that we've done over the last 2 years. And then it's also important, as always, to give a brief conclusion at the end, to give your point of view, which is based on the information that you have given. We have then a range of different bits of information sources we can use, and it's always a good idea. This is 16 marks, but you'll notice this whole paper is only worth 64 marks as opposed to 94 marks. So you've probably got about 10 minutes just to go through and make notes on each of these different resources. So figure 5a, you could pause it and then just work out what would be the key features of this figure. Then as we look down, we can see we've got the information on the population growth, and we can see that it's varied. Greatest in the southwest and Northern Ireland, but less so in Northern England and Wales. Then we can look at the amount of greenbelt land. Now greenbelt are those protected areas, areas that can't be developed massively. And we can see again, this varies in different areas, from the least in London, where is the most population, to the most in areas like the southwest and the East Midlands and the east of England. We then have the figures for migration, and then we have some overall facts and statements regarding ecosystems, population, migration, employment. So we should have lots of different bits of information that we can read, and you want to spend a good 10 minutes reading through and making notes on all of these related to the question. So the question we've got to look at: discuss the view that UK population growth and migration will create pressures on the ecosystems. So what we can say is that population is increasing. Many areas over 7%. Much of this is created by net migration, as figure 5c says, by 10 million in 50 years, which we got from figure 5e. But there are different rates in different areas, so the pressures aren't the same all over the country. The pressure on the environment comes from housing building, which will impact these areas of the environment. But this can be reduced by building on brownfield sites. So we're saying how, well, maybe it won't have a big impact. But then, again, looking at the figures, brownfield sites will only hold 200,000 houses, but we need 3 million. And some ecosystems are less likely to be affected, and also we have national park and greenbelt status as well. So again, maybe worth just pausing those and having a look before you write your own answer. So again, when we look at the mark schemes, these aren't point marked. We do have the different levels, so have a look at those now. And we can see that those extra 4 marks come from AO4. So have a go at the question, then you can pause to have a look at the AO2 understanding, AO3 application, an AO4,